There you go.
Hi, my name is Palig.MPG, and I'm here to talk about plastic surgery. Lately, every time you turn the channel, someone is talking about a celebrity getting plastic surgery purely for cosmetic reasons, not for reconstructive purposes. For example, Heidi Montag went under the knife for 10 procedures in one day, and yet she's only 23 years old. With all this plastic surgery in the United States, I believe it has become an epidemic, especially in Southern California. There are 3 reasons that I believe that plastic surgery has become an epidemic. The first is that despite the state the economy is in, the number of plastic surgery has risen. The second is that plastic surgery is performed on and bought by all types of people, ranging from teenagers to elderly. And the third is that plastic surgery gives a sense of false confidence to the patient. So, starting off with my first supporting point, that despite the economy, the number of plastic surgery has risen. In the 2008 Plastic Surgery Procedural Statistics by the American Society of Plastic Surgeons, it showed that pectoral implant surgeries rose 203% from 2007. And that's only in men, because not many women want to get pectoral implants. So you can only imagine the rise in women's plastic surgery. Also, repeat patient numbers rose 7%, which shows how much people are willing to undergo just to change something about themselves. Another point is that plastic surgery, which is mainly cosmetic procedures, increased 465% from 1997 to 2004. That's not even a 10-year period. Moving on to my second point, that plastic surgery is performed on and bought by all types of people, ranging from teenagers to the elderly. The American Society for Aesthetic Plastic Surgery states that almost half of Americans approve of cosmetic plastic surgery regardless of their income. People would spend all the money they have and borrow money from relatives in order to get the surgery they so badly desire, even if there's absolutely no need for it. Next would be the teenagers. More and more you see teenagers walking around with bandages on their nose because they just had rhinoplasty. Teenagers are beginning to ask for plastic surgery as a birthday or graduation gift. They think that if they get the surgery, they will end up being happier, but most of the time, that's not what ends up happening. As Denise Mann states in her article, Is Plastic Surgery a Teen Thing? Many of the teenagers that are undergoing plastic surgery are encouraged to do so by their parents because in their parents' eyes, they want their children to look his or her best, and if that is accomplished by plastic surgery, then so be it. This outlook on plastic surgery, however, is truly wrong. If the child doesn't have a problem with the way he or she looks, then it isn't the parent's right to drag them off to the surgeon's office for a little bit of nip tuck. And then there are the teenagers who want the plastic surgery so bad that it eats them up. They beg their parents for the surgery, they request the surgery instead of a car, or even go to work to try and pay for it themselves. Most likely, this want for plastic surgery is brought on by all the publicity the celebrities get when they undergo procedures like that. And then, of course, there are the middle-aged and elderly patients. These are the patients who most likely are trying to recapture their youth and try to get another chance at being young. Now, there's nothing wrong with a little bit of work, but then when it gets to the point where someone is unrecognizable, that's when the line is crossed. For example, in the case of Jocelyn Wildenstein, a 69-year-old wealthy socialite who has spent somewhere near $4 million on plastic surgery alone, what did she get out of it? Ridicule and the nickname Catwoman, because all the procedures she had made her look like a cat, and today she looks nothing like she did when she was younger. And my last point is that plastic surgery gives a sense of false confidence to the people it is performed on. The people who undergo the surgeries come out bruised and swollen for months. The patients think they gain the confidence they never had, but it is only a matter of time before they start seeing other things that are wrong with their body. They might notice a little bit of extra fat they don't want, or that their nose is a little crooked. Whatever the case may be, most patients will likely go under the knife again. As Jared C. Patcher states, almost 2/3 of patients will return for another surgery because they aren't happy with the way their first surgery turned out. It only takes one surgery to negatively affect a person's psychological and physical health. The patient could become dependent on surgeries for happiness and end up having a severe problem with body dysmorphic disorder, which is when a person is never happy with how they look and would go through everything to change it. It is a disease that cannot be fixed with numerous plastic surgery procedures. The patient's physical health could be in danger the second they go into the operating room. There is a risk of infection or the risk of organ failure, a risk of allergic reaction to the medication, and many more. For example, as Dan Whitcomb of Reuters explains, the famous rapper Kanye West's mother had undergone a surgery for breast reduction, tummy tuck, and liposuction. The day after her surgery, she was found unresponsive in her home and died a couple hours later. And the autopsy stated that it had to do with her surgery the day before. So in conclusion, my thesis that plastic surgery has become an epidemic in the United States is supported by the fact that despite the economy, the number of surgeries are rising. The plastic surgery is performed on and bought by all types of people, and that plastic surgery gives a sense of false confidence that makes people want to go under the knife over and over again. Thank you.
All right, the claim is cited. It's actually the secondary claims that make it clear that it's the main proposition, and I thought that you had a pretty good layout of the secondary claims. Internal signposting is actually pretty strong. Some of the controversy is about whether it's dangerous, whether it is necessary, whether it is harmful in some way, and I think that you're trying to cover them all with a broad topic, and I'm not sure that you've phrased it correctly, because the notion that it's an epidemic seems to imply that it's running rampant, not necessarily that it's got negative connotations to it. I think maybe the phraseology there needs to be a little bit different, because I'm not sure how much controversy there is that more people are getting surgery. The real argument is whether it's necessary or whether there are complications and problems associated with it, which is exactly what you talk about in the body of the speech. And most of your evidence discusses people having distorted self-image or potential dangers that they are threatened with, or that they continuously come back for surgery. So there's a lot of good information in the presentation. I thought that the summary did a kind of a better job explaining what the nature of the argument was than what you had at the beginning of the speech. The presentation is generally effective. One of the questions that comes up is, why is it that plastic surgery is increasingly being utilized? You kind of assert at one point that it's the parents are pushing kids into it, or that kids are demanding it because they see celebrities. And I think there might be some controversy on that point, but that's not really something that you develop. It's just a presupposition that you have. There could be a lot of other explanations too, and maybe that's where there is some controversy. The safety issue, I think you bring up a little bit of controversy on also. All right, I'm going to call it a night here, folks.